back to What Are Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the M53 M55, the Tier 9 American SPG. This one's located on the south spawn of Pilsen, and it's under the commands of Mike1963_1. Now he's got one mark on the barrel, but I'm pretty sure he's working on his second at the moment, and it's fairly close. And he sent me in two replays, and well, we thought we'd put them together back to back because they're rather good. Okay, the M53 M55 is based on the pattern tank, the M47 or the M46. I think it was the M47 or the M48 actually. But they actually pulled tanks directly off the production line before they actually received their turrets, and then modified them and turned them into the M53 M55. And depending on which gun they actually got would designate whether it was an M53, it would have the 155mm howitzer, or if it was the 8-inch howitzer, that would go to the M55. And of course the M55s were used by the US Army, and the M53s were used by the US Marines. Well, that... Oh, he's got really close. But look at that, he zaps him at close range. I think I would have come out of the aim, actually, at that point and said, well, okay, I'll shotgun the guy at close range. He did receive one round, a 90mm, 246 hit points. And now he's trying to go up the slope, but he's digging into the slope as he goes up. And, of course, that's slowing him down. Okay, he's decided to fire from this position for the moment, because he would have gone unspotted now. I think there's a point at which when you're aiming, you do stop trying to look from above, and you definitely go to shotgun. And that guy, the moment he appeared in the neighbourhood, he should have gone to the shotgun immediately, or at least come out of aim. You can auto aim onto the enemy. You're going up the slope and digging into it. That's why you're slow. I think he might be doing that on purpose though. Okay, standard reload 40.27 seconds. Mike's got 32.34. He's going back to that T30 and waiting for this reload. He's going to put a round into him if he can. Rounds out. Oh, big hit! 401 hit points. That T30 is not a happy guy now. Yep, in fact he's crawling backwards trying to get into cover, because he knows he's a one-shot for anyone who pokes their head round the corner and launches any HE in his direction. So, the M53 built a prototype in 1952. It is basically a pattern tank with the engine at the front and the turret with the howitzer at the rear. It was powered by a Continental engine, 12-cylinder, four-cycle V series engine, 810 horsepower at 2800 revs. Okay, that Object 2684 has refused to die so far, and the Bosch comes in. We're almost loaded. The Bosch is about to die if he gets this shell, but, well, he doesn't get it. He doesn't get a hit, but unfortunately we lost our teammate in the 907. We still have people on the railway line though, so I'm not so sure that that Bosch is going to get away without being damaged any further. And we've got an enemy M4Y just coming into the coal pit area. He's starting to receive fire. Okay, going for the Renegade. Line him up. Wait for him to go to the door. That's it. Rounds out. Unfortunately, the shell landed short, so we didn't get any damage on the Renegade. The logic was quite sound. If you actually hit the enemy just before he gets to the door, he gets stunned, and then he pokes his head round the door, and our teammate gets a free shot at him. Yep, looks like the M4Y did get hit there. And now we've lost sight of the Renegade. I'm pretty sure that shell actually hit the door and that dissipated any damage. But there's the Renegade. So he can go to overhead and he's killed. Okay, so we're going over to the M4Y. So 30 degrees either side of the centre line is the arc. So 60 degrees in total. Now he can fire there. But instead he actually goes back to the other side. Fires the round in. And then pulls away, so we didn't get to see what happened to the shell. Come on, Mike, you know better than that. I'm not sure if he actually meant to fire that shell, though, but the fact is that you want to see what happens to the shell, because it might actually hit the target, and you might have actually done some damage without actually realising that you did if you pulled away. He knows that that's the truth. It's very important info to know if an enemy vehicle's been hit. He fires another one, and look at this. Come on, Mike. Don't do this. You're ruining the game for other people. People can't watch your replay if you don't let them see what's going on. Goes back to the M4Y. And he gets completely derped by our Foch 155. The enemy Foch 155 is trying to bully our Heshpan, who just received a round from the enemy Arty. We're loaded. Rounds out. And it explodes next to the Foch. Doesn't do a whole lot of damage. Well, it looks like our Foch is going to then do a lot of damage to their Foch, because they both know exactly where to aim. So this should be a bit of fun. Be like watching two old people mating. I know, that's terrible, isn't it? It's the worst analogy. Rounds out in the Foch. That's better. He got that one right. It landed right on the rear of the guy, so it didn't do so much damage to our own guy, but he was within the splash zone, so that might affect his ability to get a high caliber. He's got 2,600 hit points of damage now with 2,000 assists. He's almost ready to shoot again. These two are struggling to take each other out, which is surprising. Now, watch where you put this round. He fires it in. Nicely done. He gets it right again. Gives just enough stun to take out the Foch. Allows our Foch to get the kill. I think that round possibly did as well get some critical damage to the Foch's engine. There's only two enemies left now. They're Arty, the M53, M55, and the Scorpion G. And the Scorpion G is up in the northwest corner. And I think the Arty's up there as well. The Scorpion G's got blown to pieces. And I think we just saw the exact location of the M53, M55. Now, he did fire a snap there, but I had the feeling that he was actually on target, because it appeared that the guy was firing from that bush. We saw the tracer appear a little way away from that bush. Our K91 PT's headed up there. I think we're going to lose the stun any second on the enemy. Oh, now that's interesting. The M53, M55 just shotgunned the K91 PT, and all we've got left is the Foch 155. You know, we might have to move up there and shotgun the guy ourselves, even though we're badly damaged, because of course that first instance with the EPR-90. However, the Foch 155 is getting closer to that corner, and if I was in the M53, M55, I would have relocated from that corner by now, although it does give you an advantage over the enemy, because you can see them coming. There's the Foch. So aim up onto the hill for the moment. You might be able to get a quick shot in to stun the guy just before the Foch kills him. So you need to get your aim ahead of the Foch for where he's looking. So you see the enemy just the same moment that he does. Well, it looks like he has left that corner. Yep, in which case he's probably headed this way. So there might be a chance for Mike to get a shotgun on the enemy. Let's hope that he does a manual shotgun instead of trying to aim from overhead again, because it doesn't always work very well. You see that EBR 90 got rather close before Mike actually reacted to it and fired. He was trying to get an aim shot all the way, and he thought that he was, well, unsighted. But I think the EBR knew exactly where he was all along and was coming straight for him. Mike staying out in the open. The Foch has decided to cap. I'm not so sure that's a good idea. I'd be arty hunting by now. In fact, I'd be taking my M53, M55 out there to go hunt him down. In fact, given where the Foch was, I'm pretty certain the M53, M55 is actually somewhere on the west side of the map. He's not in the corner. He's come down by the buildings. In fact, he might be to our left at this moment. He might have gone up the hill, and he might be only slightly more than 50 yards away from us up on the hill. So if we get spotted in the next 10 seconds, it could be he's actually behind us. No, he's not. Okay, so he's not behind us, but he could be anywhere on the route to the enemy. Oh, he is behind us. I just saw the tracer, and it went arcing through the sky above us, and it's headed towards the cap. The other enemy is actually behind us, and he's not the only one. The 110 also thinks the enemy Arty is behind him. Mike's not even bothering to go up there and have a look. He's decided he's going to go towards the cap. Or is he? Come on, Mike. The Arty shells are actually arcing through the sky from the southwest corner of the map, which means that the enemy Arty's in the southwest corner. You'll see that if you look in that direction, Mike. And that's not a good decision to knock down something that tempts the Arty to fire. There you see an Arty shell. That was a premium round. Just landed right next door to the wrecks of the Hetzers. So obviously he thought that the Foch was in that corner and they capped out to win. Well, despite the fact that he didn't kill that last enemy Arty, and he could have gone up onto that hill and found out where he was. I'm surprised the enemy Arty didn't spot him, and it may have been that the enemy Arty was actually hiding so deep into the corner he couldn't see through the bushes, and as Mike pulled away from the position he was in, the enemy Arty didn't see him at all. So that might be the reason why he wasn't spotted as he pulled away. Yep. It was an ace tanker game for Mike 1963_1 in the M53, M55. He got a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits, and he got a Confederate as well for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team, and his win rate was 2,477. Let's have a look at the team score. Didn't get the highest damage in the game. That went to the enemy Foch 155, who got a high caliber for 6,726 hit points. Second highest damage was the Skoda T56 with 4,605, and the third highest damage was the K91 PT, who got shotgunned by the enemy Arty for 3,844. The enemy Arty player El Siriaco, not sure what his where he's from, but he actually managed to get 1,549 hit points of damage and 2 kills in the game. I had the feeling that he knew exactly where to hide, which was the opposite place as to where the rest of the enemy team would try to look for him. So if he was looked for in the northwest corner, he would go directly to the southwest corner to where Mike was located. Now, Mike's sixth sense never went off, so there was a very good chance that he managed to get over the railway line in front of the hill where Mike was located without being spotted, and then crawled up the hill very close to the edge and then sat in the bushes, far enough down deep into the bushes so he wasn't spotted. Mike actually got 2,880 hit points of damage, and he was beaten by 2 members of the enemy team and 2 members of his own team, which means that he was in 5th place on damage. He did, of course, get the Confederate, and the Foch 155 got the Invader for capping out. When it came to kills, it was the Skoda and the Foch 155 both got 4 kills each. 3 kills went to the K91 PT, 2 kills went to the Foch 155, the Object 907, the SU-130 PM, and 2 members of the enemy team, their T0OL and of course their Arty, their M53, M55. And when it came to base XP, it's actually the Skoda who came out on top with 1,541. He was working quite hard. 1,122 went to the K91 PC, and Mike managed to get 1,081 even after that rocky start with the EPR-90. He fired 13 rounds in the game, got 2 direct hits on the enemy and no penetrations and 13 splash. Damage of 2,880 hit points, of which 2,445 were at more than 300 meters. So most of the damage at long range. The only close one was the EBR-90. 1 hit received from the EBR-90. It was a penetration and it did an average roll or thereabouts of damage. 6 enemy vehicles were damaged, no kills, but 2,351 hit points of stun assist off 10 stuns, and he got 19 capture points in the cap, which allowed the Foch to get the Invader medal. 53,364 credits from the game, and after repair and ammunition resupply took away 20,671 credits, 1,621 XP, and there was no multipliers, so that's all the experience points he took away. I have to be critical on this one. If I've been in Mike's place, I would have immediately gone up the hill to see who was there, because I'm pretty certain that that's exactly where the enemy would have gone. He didn't move from his position again, and I would have actually driven up via the left-hand side of the map, even though it does make you vulnerable to a shotgun, because of course you could just drive around a corner and an enemy Arty might be waiting in ambush the moment you appear. Of course, that did happen just the other day when Angelina managed to shotgun an M44 who was making his way towards the city. She saw him, she blasted him in the side, and of course he couldn't return fire without actually compromising himself. So yes, it's very likely if Mike had gone up the hill, he would have spotted where the M53, M55 was. I'm not so sure the Foch would have come back to kill him. The Foch is fairly slow. Yeah, I think it would have ended up the same way with the Foch capping out to win. I think he'd just given up trying to chase around after an M53. But I have the feeling that Mike will know better now. He'll know and realise that when you see those shells arcing through the sky from that corner of the map, go back to that corner and try and find him. So he's more than likely he's still up there, and you could get an easy kill. So if you enjoyed that first replay, I did say it's the 2 replay video, we've got another one for you. Let's watch it. The second replay is on the Studzianki map, and it's an encounter battle. He's on the West Spawn. Okay, difficulty with this map, of course, is the caps in the centre, so the enemy's not trying to make their way over to the west side unless they're intent on killing all of the enemy tanks and they want to do a circle, come back behind the enemy. Of course, Arty tends to stay at the back of the map for its own protection, and sometimes on this map it actually can be helpful to go as far south as possible so you can loop those shells into the cap area. At the moment, Mike is trying to lob a shell into the courtyard on the opposite side of the railway station. And the first enemy's turned up, it's an Object 277. Now, one of the unfortunate drawbacks of actually having the overhead mode, or gold mode as some like to call it, is you don't see the fences knocked down so easily when enemy vehicles move, but we've got a T90, is it T92? No, T32. Oh, that worked in his favour because he actually got a long shell. It went much further than normal, but it actually did land fairly close to the T32. He didn't get any splash on him, but he certainly did stun him and also slow him down a little, which meant that our guys in the wood up to the north, the cops, actually managed to get some shots in. Okay. If you carefully dial in, you can put a shell into that courtyard. Rounds out. Yes, it worked. He got him. Direct hit on one of them, hiding on that corner, trying to hit our teammates in the south, and he got one of them. It's always very satisfying when you can loop a shell in on that little courtyard, because they think they're nice and safe and they're not, and they get badly hit. Almost reloaded. Oh, big no-no there for Mike. I'll have to put the red flag up again and say, please don't pull away after you fire. We want to see what happens to the shells. If you actually did hit an enemy tank there, we wouldn't know. We know that you stunned one. You hit the stunned the T-32, but because you pulled away immediately after you fired, we didn't get to see what happened. And it's not as if you're pulling away to try and reposition. You're keeping the same position every time. Okay, we've got a 50 TP Polish heavy tank sitting in the riverbed. Line him up. No, bit further. That's a bit further over. That's it. Rounds out. Lands just behind him. 228. Decent shot. Now, there's another reason for actually heading down to the south, as I said, because obviously you can not only loop the shells into the cap area, but it also gives you better access into shells that are actually being fired at the guys hiding behind the other side of the factory. But if enemy tanks like these try to pop up over the ridgeline, they make themselves perfect targets. Oh, beautiful shot right into the Emil. Overwhelmed him. 253 hit points and a kill. So, second kill of the game for his team. Down by 3 tanks at the moment. Now, the enemies lost their cops up on the north of the map. And of course, that means we've got the ability to shoot into the cap area from the cops. It's going to have a go at the 277. Just wait until they move forward. He's changing direction. And he does it again. Mike, stop doing that. You're ruining the game for us. We don't get to see what happens to your shells if you pull away all the time like that and deny us a look. I think what I'm going to have to do from now on is take control of the view and not let Mike pull it away, so that we get to see what happens to the shell after he shoots. Okay, he's aiming for that corner. The T-32 is a one-shot, but we don't know about that 50 TPs. Still, last seen down in the south, if we were to drive round to that corner just to get a shot at the T-32, the 50 TP might find us and kill us. So we can't get at T-32 just yet. And we are down by 3 at the moment. In fact, our guys have pulled back from the village in the south. We do have a charioteer that's going in to have a quick look though. I think he sees the opportunity. Okay, we do have that 50 TP now, and he was still there. Lining up a shot, rounds out. Oh! Well, he got the kill. Unfortunately, the 50 TP did as well. He got the charioteer. But the good news is that now that Progetto 65 is actually facing our Waffenträger Aufpanzer IV and an ISU 152. And of course, the Progetto 65 doesn't have much in the way of armor, and he's out the game, taken out by the 704. So that worked out okay, because now we got rid of the 50 TP. And it means that we could head south and start using the village to shoot up to the north. Near miss on T-34B. Got one in the cap at the moment. It's because it's an encounter, it's twice as long to cap out, so not a worry. I forgot to mention this is a tier 10 game, by the way. So he does have the opportunity to earn extra XP, but there are tier 8 tanks in it as well. 2 Arty on the enemy team, a T92 HMC and an M53 M55. I had the feeling the enemy tank is actually nearer to our guys on the east side of the cap, or the west side of the cap rather. We can't see him at the moment, but that's the most likely place he'll be. And oh, look at this cheeky one here. Scorpion G has gone over the top of the cops because our guys abandoned it. Gonna fire. Rounds out. Oh, big hit. Penetrating shot, 945. It's a 900 alpha, so to get 945, you've got a high roll, and the Scorpion's gone. So he picked up the rest of the stun assist. So that was a good shot. That was worthwhile. Now I say there is a genuine opportunity now for Mike to move to the south, get closer to the church and shoot upwards into the cap area. You're not going to get a shot in there because it will hit the building before it hits anything else. SU-130 PM in the corpse. Another opportunity. Come on, you can do it. Rounds out. Well, it looked like it landed near the Barask wreck, and if it did, and the SU-130 PM was hiding behind him, as I suspect he was, that would have had a significant effect upon the SU-130 PM because he has no armor. Negligible armor on that vehicle. So he's badly affected by HE. Okay, the enemy does have a Scorpion and a Waffenträger near the church area, but our guys are now starting to swarm into that area. The ST2 just derped the Renegade. Down in the south, we've got an opportunity. We might be able to hit the Waffenträger. He is in the river bank, but he's just been hit already. Gonna go for the Scorpion instead. Rounds out. That was good. It was close to the Scorpion. Very close. Well, the cap's been stopped for the moment, but that's because the enemy tanks that were capping have been killed. They do have a T-34 black up next to the cap area, but it looks like he's not able to take part at the moment because he's all on his own. There is the SU-130 PM up there, but I think he's badly damaged. Why do I get the feeling that one of the enemy vehicles has come back and is hiding behind those buildings? I think Mike's thinking the same thing as me. Pretty sure he's convinced that one of the enemy is up there. There's the SU-130 PM, and it looks like he has lost some hit points. He's actually just hiding behind the bushes. He's not bothering to go any further. Rounds out. Oh, kill shots! 349 direct hit. That's more than likely a penetrating shot as well. He finished off the SU-130 PM. Very nice. So the enemy is now down to 5. We've got a T-103 up on the railway line, the T-34B near the cap. So we know where 2 of them are. The other 2, well, there's 2 Arty and of course that Scorpion. Okay, we're loaded. The T-34 black dies, taken out by the UDIS. The enemy are being pushed into the corner now. I suspect they're further up the tree line at the near behind the spawn area. Either that or they're right up in the northeast corner of the map. Mike's decided to change position, but not by much. There goes the Scorpion. Okay, T-103 now. going to move? He's going to move. He's going to try and get closer to the enemy. He's got 3 kills. He could platoon with a couple of his teammates and end up with a brothers in arms. Gun up. He drives like I do. Okay, well, the enemy T92 HMC just got wiped out. And that means now there's only the M53, M55 and their T103. And they're in the north of the map. I'd be encouraged to actually go up into that copse to the north. This is a little crowded. Yeah. I don't think this is going to work very well. Oh, well, he managed to make his way through. Oh my God, the T103. Are you ready to shotgun someone? I think he's going to see you're there and he's going to... Oh, he did shotgun him. And the ST2 had a go as well. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if the enemy M53, M55 is in the northeast corner of the map and tries to have a shot at Mike. This is not the best place for Mike, but it is rather funny. And there goes the T103, and that is the end of the game because they did kill the M53 and I hadn't noticed that. Here's the end of battle stats, and that was the second class tanker for Mike, 1963_1 in the M53, M55. Bit surprising, he did get a huge amount of damage, but it was a tier 10 game. And he did get a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits in this one. He managed to get 13. And he got a Confederate medal as well for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. And his win rate on this one, 4,457. Let's have a look at the team score. Well, he actually managed to get the second highest damage in the game. The Udas 1516 got 4,216 hit points, but didn't get a high caliber because it wasn't 20% of the enemy hit pool. The second highest damage went to Mike, who managed to get 3,328, and the third highest damage went to the ST2, who also got a defender and 3,322 hit points. When it came to kills, it was Udes. He got 5 kills, Mike got 3, and so did the ST2. And when it came to base XP, it was the ST2 came out on top with 1,026. He was the only one to get over 1,000. The Udes managed 970. The Waffenträger 921 and Mike got 894. He fired 13 shots in that game, got 6 direct hits on the enemy and 2 penetrations. Now, I think we did see one of the penetrations. Let's have a check. He did pen the SU-130PM with one of his shots. Well, that was probably the one at the end because it was a direct impact on the guy and took him out. The other one was probably that Scorpion. Not that one. That one, yes. The one who was up in the north. 945 hit points and 1 pen. Yep, definitely pinned that guy. No problem at all. He also got 12 splashes, damage of 3,328 hit points, of which 2,960 were at more than 300 meters. Damage 10 of the enemy, kill 3, so there's a 7 difference there for the Confederate. 244 hit points, so stun assist off 10 stuns, and he got 3 capture points right at the end. 42,603 credits from the game. And after ammunition resupply, 17,413 credits profit, 1,341 XP times 3 for the first victory, and he earned a mission completion, 2,682, meaning he took away 6,705 experience points altogether. He says this one, comeback win for the team, when it was because they were behind for a long period during that game, and the enemy seemed to be threatening to break through down in the south. But when they did come through, they came through piecemeal, and it was a bit of a mistake. Mind you, I was saying that Mike ought to move to the village to shoot up at the cap area from the south. If he'd actually done that, I think he more than likely would have been taken out by the Waffenträger or by the Scorpion, who would have seen him and said, okay, yum yum, I'll have that one. But yes, as it was, he got some great shots in that game. Got 2 penetrating shots on tank destroyers who were where they were not supposed to be. And yes, and did a fair amount of damage. It's a bit surprising it's only a second class tanker, but I have the feeling that most of that was down to the fact that he didn't get any stun assist, and as we know as Arty players, you need to get stun assist if you want to get a high ranking, or high rating rather, an ace tanker or a first class. You need to get at least 1,000 hit points of stun assist, and well, in this one he didn't, so that's why it wasn't so great, but it was a nice amount of damage all the same, so well done on that. So if you enjoyed both of those replays, the one on Studzianki and the one on Pilsen, which was an ace tanker but could have ended up with a wipeout for the enemy team, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.